doing all right today? And what have you been up to on a Monday? You've been fine, and your day's gone all right as planned, and you've achieved everything you've wanted to do. I, of course, have been excited. I've been excited about some good news I've got today. Two on the TV kind of, no, one on the TV kind of thing, and two of a personal nature, and all will become clear as we go through proceedings this evening. But before I do, as I always do, I'll just have a quick gander through the chat and make sure that everybody's here, present and accounted for. Alan Pape, good to see you. Julie Keys, Alan Edge, let's go, Sabir. Yeah, exactly. CJ, good to see you. Tanner Family Memories. John Harrington, Healing Vibrations. Who else we got here? Bridget. Who's that? LM Bendel. Good to see you. And I've had some emails from people that you described there before. Well worth looking into, I think. Lots of comments from Bridget. Hello, Cosmic War Toad. Julie Baldwin. Hello to you. Everybody's here. That's excellent. The new Black Log. Howard Bowen. Loads and loads of you in. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay. Yes, where are we today? Well, hello, what's this? Hello, Grandad Andy. All's well. Make sure you don't forget the reading glasses tonight. You're reminding me of Uncle Albert for some reason lately. Uncle Albert, get out, you absolute 42 carat. That is the right show, isn't it? I wonder why I'm reminding you of our Uncle Albert. You know, during the war, get out. Let's get on with it. You know, this Beergate nonsense has blown up in their faces, hasn't it? And I've made no secret of the fact that I do not like Sakir of Beer, Starmer of the Charmer, whatever you want to call him. I think he's a duplicitous rat as a politician. And when he was voted in as leader of the Labour Party, I thought, that's a quick way to extinction. Everything I've said is not slanderous, libelous, or anything of that nature. It's purely just an opinion based on what I see and hear. In other words, he's a very good politician, as they all are, doing what they do. Duplicity comes second nature. Yada, 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 yada. That's the way we go it. Factual Breakdown's in the house. Been missing for a little while. Hope you're all right and hope you're well, Factual Breakdown. Good to see you. Announce your presence there. Yes, we have this situation, don't we, where Boris has been a naughty boy, apparently, having cake and eating it in 10 Downing Street. How dare he? And the Tories have been a little bit concerned about this, and all of a sudden, after they get a supposed bashing in some of the key London councils at the recent local elections, Sabir, is it Keir or Beer? Yeah, let's say Keir Starmer, just so we can get it straight, has suddenly had his collar felt as well. And apparently the ginger one too has been identified as being there also. Well, it's a very interesting development today, isn't it? Keir Starmer has turned round and said, "We broke no rules. It wasn't us, Gov. We never did it." Well, that may well be so. That's up to the British public, really, to determine what's what there, because, you know, we all followed suit and did as we were told for all this time, and you're caught in a shop window supping on a beer at an apparent gathering. It doesn't look too good. But he's turned around and said today, which I think this is quite juicy, this: if I am fined, if I receive a fixed penalty notice for breaching COVID rules, I will resign. I'll have to. And Angela Rayner, the ginger one, has said exactly the same thing. Isn't this marvellous? Now, my message to Durham Police is, if you really do have to investigate that and find wrongdoing, please write him up, because I would love to see, as with other things in the past, Brexit, will he keep his word on it? This could be very interesting. Now, let's have a look what the press has to say about it, shall we? Yes, you are absolutely right, Narinda. It is called karma. What goes around comes around. Keir Starmer to quit as Labour leader if he gets police fine over Beergate. That's music to my ears, that sentence. Keir Starmer to quit as Labour leader, but there's a but on the end. See, there he is, looking all serious in his whistle and flute with his. Is that a red tie or is that looks like a purple one? That must be Labour's new colours. Trying to distract from other things. Sir Keir Starmer has put his leadership on the line and pledged to resign if he is fined over a beer and curry meeting during lockdown. Now, I don't think this personally is as exciting as it appears to be. I think this is Keir Starmer calling Durham police out and saying, you got something, put up or shut up. If you put up, I'm off. If you're not, shut up, go away. That's what I think this is all about, really. The Labour leader is under police investigation over a gathering with other MPs and aides in April 2021. What were you doing in April 2021? I know what I was doing. Durham Constabulary revisited previously published photographs of Sir Keir drinking beer indoors, which in itself isn't a crime. It's who he was there with, after pressure from senior Conservatives in the run-up to the local elections. The incident took place at Durham Miners Hall during a day of campaigning in the Hartlepool by-election. I'd love to know if there's anyone in the chat with any local knowledge of that place and can tell me what actually goes on there, because I'm operating from a position of ignorance somewhat, because I've never been to Hartlepool in my life, or at least if I have, I don't remember. Labour has insisted the gathering was a legitimate work meeting and within what was permitted under the law at the time. Okay, so we have beer and curry at a work meeting. No, that's called something else, that is, I'm afraid. If it was packed lunch and a coffee out of the machine, I might let you get away with that one, but no. In a short speech, Sir Keir doubled down, saying repeatedly that no rules were broken, but continued he would do the right thing and step down if fined. This is the thing where we need to hold him to account. I will step down if I'm fined. Now, one or two things will happen here. Yes, Belfast Mickey, it's all bollocks. You've summed it up quite nicely, but one or two things will happen here. He won't be fined, which is highly likely because everything is very left-leaning these days. Or number two, he kind of excuse why not to go, unless he's pushed out by some kind of internal coup. I really can't see it, but we'll see how that goes. He described it as a matter of principle and honour. Okay. It's about who I am, accusing opponents of trying to feed cynicism despite not believing the allegations themselves. Addressing the alleged rule breach, he said people were entitled to expect politicians would follow the same rules as everyone else. That's right. You make them, you follow them. You expect us to. It's called leading by example at the end of the day. Labour's deputy leader, Angela Rayner, who was also in attendance, yeah, you saw the back of her barnet, didn't you, at the gathering, confirmed she would resign also if she was fined. So her and Keir are singing off the same song sheet. After consistently calling for the Prime Minister to resign over his breaches of lockdown rules, the police investigation is politically toxic for Sir Keir. Well, he has been a bit hypocritical over the whole thing, hasn't he? When Mr Johnson was fined by the Met, he told the Commons he doesn't respect the sacrifice of the British public. He is a man without shame. Sir Keir cancelled planned appearances this morning to thrash out a statement with aides, eventually concluding he should commit to stepping down if sanctioned. The new high-risk position reflects the Labour leader's confidence he did not break the rules, but will be seen as an effort to take Mr Johnson down with him if he does have to go. Well, we'll see who's the more Teflon there, shall we? He also knows that if he is cleared, it will put more pressure on the PM to quit, as is expected. He is issued with more fines over other Downing Street gatherings, so not the end of it for Boris, really. The former director of public prosecution will have pored over the regulations as they were at the time before putting his own job at stake. I doubt it. He just thought he could get away with it. Potential successors who would put their name forward in any leadership election following a resignation are likely to start vying for position behind the scenes. Yeah, it's unclear when the Durham Constabulary investigation will report back, but the announcement a probe is underway mars what should have been a good week for the party. Yes, we have the elections, and then this happens. How convenient. Labour got the largest vote share at last week's local election, securing totemic wins in London and making some progress in key battlegrounds. Labour MP Mary Foy denied reports that the staff were drunk at the event. Yes, I've been to office do's. I know what happens. Held in the City of Durham MP's constituency office. In a statement, she said these allegations about my staff are untrue. I have already said that I and my team were working during a very busy period, including facilitating the leader's visit. I do not believe either or my office staff broke any rules. Non-essential retail and outdoor venues, including pub gardens, were open at the time of the gathering, but social distancing rules, which included a ban on indoor mixing between households, remained in place at that time. So, I know what we all think of the rules and all the current situation. It's a big load of old bollocks. It really is, and we just want to get on with our lives now. But you have to look at this, this is the same old political bullshittery as usual, isn't it? It's what's good for the goose is good for the gander kind of thing. And in this case, he's been caught out royally, and I love it. But seriously, we'll have to see what happens with this one, the way it goes. But I've laid out the three possibilities that I think may happen, and we'll see. I mean, you remember the time of the pub landlord that threw him out of the boozer, and he was just completely oblivious to normal people and what normal people want. It's all politics, position and prestige with this lot, not just Starmer, all of them. So we'll have to see what happens. Anyway, folks, this is the daily chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby. It's good to see a nice number of you there already, and welcome. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button, the old thumbs up on the chat, get that algorithm talking. I'd appreciate that. And also, if you haven't done so already and you are new to Andy the Gabby Cabby, please consider subscribing also. That's quite wonderful. Yes, what else? Well, social media. You can find us on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and a couple of other places. And if you type my name into Google, Andy the Gabby Cabby, my boat race comes up quite high. So that's not too bad. Well, onwards and upwards. What I'm going to do first is have a look through and see if I can pick out any juicy comments to do with, what we've just spoken about. I would have banned a lot of them from every pub and bar in the country for life. That's Cosmic Wartoad. Boris won't step down as he's following, yes, that swab fella, Billy Goats, etc. Yes. Carol Vordenauts for PM. I like it. If Beer Starmer resigns, Abbott should get a shot. The comedy value would be worth it. They'd be doomed. They'd be absolutely doomed. Boris Johnson will keep quiet on this and let Starmer swing it. Yeah, absolutely. Fuzzy Doxy, thank you very much for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate that. And also, Fuzzy Doxy, a week or two ago, I don't know whether you saw, I only saw you gave me a super chat after I had signed off, and I didn't say thank you to you. So thank you for that super chat from all that time ago as well. I appreciate your support, Fuzzy Doxy. That's great. Belfast Mickey, even Farage is fake. all working together, shills. Do you think they will try to cover up Beergate? I think they're using it as a distraction at the moment, personally, to great effect. I look on the press every day to try and pick things out, and it's absolutely smeared with all this crap. If it's not Putin's health, it's something else. It's nuts. Good morning, Andy. Can't stay off to work. Keep up the good work, mate. Thank you, Bambi. Thank you for stopping by. Good evening, John H. Good to see you. Boris Johnson will keep quiet on this and let Starmer swing by his own yard arm. Yeah, that may well be the best way, to be honest. Bristol kicked out the wanker mayor. Yes, I saw that, John Gray. They just abolished the position entirely, didn't they? Andy, Diane Abbott for the new Doctor Shoe. Don't get me started on that one. That was ridiculous. Working, laugh out loud with a load of beer jugs. Yes, that pretty much sums it up, that does. The leader of the opposition will resign if he has had an illegal pint. What the fuck is going on in Parliament? That's absolutely right, James Carney. That's what the whole thing's degenerated to, isn't it? It's sad. Bill Roy, the hypocrisy. That's what's done it. I totally agree with you. Diane Abacus for PM. she can be the first special needs PM. Oh my God, it's all Diane Abacus baiting now, isn't it? Good friend of Boris, despite what they show in public. Yes, that's a very good point, actually, Bridget. They appear to hate each other, particularly politically. And I remember seeing a bake-off thing with Ian Dale and that woman that he does stuff with. I can't remember her name. And then there was Sajid Jabbit and Angela Rayner on the other side having a bake-off competition. If they can be in the same room as each other like that, it's crazy. If the charmer falls on his sword, followed by his handmaiden, poor old AB may have to discard his latest ginger prop, all in the best taste, of course, Anna Perkins. Yes, that's a very good point, bless him. I wonder if he considered this when he bought the ginger syrup and everything else that goes with it. Well, it wasn't the only ginger thing, was it? We'll have to see. I'll tell you what, I'm quite liking doing this live stream like this, where I can pull information off the old tablet here, the old Samsung tablet, and it's quite handy. I'm actually thinking about looking for an upgrade very soon, like bigger screen and all singing, all dancing, so we can do a bit more with these live streams. And I was actually looking at Apple. And I've been a Samsung guy for most of my life. My phones, my tablets, all of that sort of thing. It's what you're used to at the end of the day. And I found this about Apple, and I knew this kind of thing that was going on, but I thought, Christ, I mean, get a load of this. Apple workers storm barriers and fight guards, keeping them locked at work. I mean, have a look at this picture here. This is Shanghai electronics factory workers. So this is all crap pay and horrible conditions. That's the scene over there where they've all got the ump and they're clearing off. It's not good. Staff at a technology factory in China have revolted over strict coronavirus measures. Workers stormed barriers and fought with security staff during a dramatic riot on Thursday. So they're all being locked in everywhere, aren't they, over there? Workers stormed barriers and fought with security staff during a dramatic riot on Thursday. The Quanta factory in the Songjiang district of Shanghai makes devices such as MacBook Pros, and the people making them are probably earning peanuts, if that, probably half a peanut. Footage from Thursday shows how helpless guards clad in protective white gowns tried in vain to catch workers who jumped over barriers and tried to get away. The factory has been operating under strict government-mandated isolation rules. Bloomberg reports that a closed-loop system meant staff were required to sleep at nearby accommodation instead of their own homes. Some had been trying to return to their dormitories to rest when they were denied exit from the factory, and chaos soon followed. And judging by some of these pictures, they're not messing. The unrest had reportedly died down by Friday morning, but the riot has impacted the factory's output of MacBook Pro deliveries. The site is operating at 30% capacity due to the disruption. I wonder if that'll push the prices up, maybe. Sweeping lockdown measures have led to major protests across China over recent months, particularly in Shanghai. The country's strict zero COVID strategy, implemented since the beginning of the pandemic, has resulted in repeat lockdowns and stringent quarantine measures. They keep going for zero all the time. Zero, zero, zero. It don't work. It never has done. Typically, criticism of the communist Chinese government is rare, but an increasing number of people have started to revolt. One local staged a protest by placing his empty fridge on his balcony last moment as residents reported struggling to find enough to eat. There have been reports of starvation after 26 million people were locked in their homes in the city and forced to rely on food deliveries. And last month, an elderly woman launched a prison break from her quarantine in Shanghai. You can imagine that, Granny's prison break. Video footage went viral of the 95-year-old boldly walking down the street in a bid to free herself from quarantine. The woman was later placed in a small confinement area nearby, but a second clip showed her breaking through a corrugated iron cage using some tools. She was said to have made it home after her third escape bid. Bless her, she kept trying, didn't she? But that's a crazy situation over in China, and that's affecting just about everything, isn't it, over there? Listen, folks, this is the Daily Chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby. Good to see you all. Got some good, decent amount of people in the chat now. If you've only just arrived and started watching, please thumbs up, give the live stream a like. And if you're a new viewer for Andy the Gabby Cabby, please consider a subscription as well. Hit subscribe, it's completely free to do, and you can catch up with everything we do every day. And we have hit 5 million views today. I got the little notification earlier and I was so pleased. Over the moon, you couldn't believe it. And I thank you all very much for that. Now, I'm going to go back through this little chat here and see what we've got. Right. My mum's having a chinwag. Neats, hello to you. Mum loves her Apple notebook. Use Linux, not Apple, Linux, Linux. Yeah, I used to have to do a bit of support work on that years ago when I worked in IT. Trevor thinks Alf Garnett will be best. Could you imagine him in Parliament sitting opposite all those left-leaning lot? Oh Christ, they'd have a fit, wouldn't they? Angela Rayner in Bake Off, she'd be good as she already had a bun in the oven. Stink pooter. If I was on StreamYard, I'd highlight that. That's absolutely brilliant. It was on Twitter and it was like a Bake Off challenge between Ian Dale and I don't know her name. I'd have to look it up. Forgive me. And there was Savage Jabbit and the ginger one. The point is a lefty and a conservative together making a cake. It was a bit surreal. Diet Coke has aspartame. It's bad for you. I know, Belfast Mickey. I need to change. I actually drank 2 litres of water today, by the way, which is a first for a while. Trevor, I agree. Problem is that he would talk sense. That is a problem. They don't like sense, do they? If it was just a meal break from working, how come some of them were reported as being pissed and went back to their hotels directly after? Because it wasn't a meal break from working. This is the thing. No mention of the Shanghai News and American MSM. Well, there probably won't be anywhere. A lot of factories in China have suicide nets. Do they really? John Harris, I imagine the pay and conditions are bloody awful over there, but we'll see. I did some work with this guy that ran an art supply company locally, and he had a factory out in China, where he dealt with all the stuff over there, it was just peanuts. I mean, we become reliant on them too much so because of the low wholesale prices. It's created a bit of a situation we need to get away from. I'm an old school gamer. I built my own desktops, but laptops, monitors, phone, Argos. Kirky Bailey says, yeah, I've built PCs in my time. I used to work in a training centre, and we'd have to kit out all the rooms with new kit, and my boss would buy all the bits, motherboards, memory, hard drive, processor. We have to sit there and just build these PCs and put all the operating systems on them. It used to take a while, but we get it done. We get it done. Yeah, da, 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 da. I was a Microsoft certified repair tech, and Windows sucks. I was Microsoft certified as well, Alan. I was my MCP was in small business server 2003. Right, I think it was limited to 75 seats unless you installed the breakout thing on it, and then you could go further, which we had to do a couple of times. Hello, Andy and everyone. Will Starmer make the excuse if guilty that he only has X violations, but Boris has triple X? Boris should go. I absolutely believe that'll happen, Jerry. I really do. Skunkhead, granted win 2000 and XP was groundbreaking. Yep. Where are we? Yeah, Bloodnose. I like Andy for the world news because it's what UK is talking about. Appreciate that, Bloodnose. Appreciate seeing comments like that, and it makes me carry on with what I'm doing. Convert Windows 7 to Unix. Okay. I must admit, I never considered doing that. I've got Windows 10 indoors. I ended up with a free upgrade, and I think they're trying to pull the same thing with Windows 11 when it gets here, but we'll see what happens. They were after my days in IT. The only versions I was trained on were NT and 2000. Okay. It was NT4, I think, when I first started working in IT, Alan. So a few years back. Too old. I remember BASIC on my old Commodore VC20. I remember BASIC too. Did you guys talk about Harry yet? How rude can he and his wife be? No, we haven't, Fuzzy Doxy. I did a video earlier on to do with this so-called acting. He wants to be an actor like his missus. Well. I find them pair an absolute lunacy joke. They disappeared from public life they want to protect their privacy, and they've done everything else but to invade their own privacy ever since. They've done this deal with Netflix that's gone south. They've done this, they've done that, they've done the other. They don't want the real life, despite protestations. I think the Queen banned them from the balcony, didn't she, from what I'm reading? And it's a joke. I mean, if you have a look at my channel earlier on today, you'll see a picture of Harry with a silly look on his face with a hat on. Listen to what I have to say there, and it really is ridiculous. But you're right, total rudeness. I think the best thing they can do is disappear. I don't like doing videos about Harry and Meghan because I believe that they get enough publicity. Why the hell should I help? And I don't think they deserve any. That's what it's all about. That's what they're after, and I don't want to aid it, but I just thought that was so pathetic. It needed bringing to everybody's attention, especially the subject. I mean, Air Zulu, one of the people in the chat here tonight, will know what I'm talking about because he made a comment on it. Okay, they were good OSs. They used minimal system resources and no spyware. Oh yeah, the days of no spyware. Bridget, try flavoured water, Andy. And yeah, I like lime flavoured water. I have tried that, but not for a while. Race to 100 likes, guys. Please hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you. Yeah, we're nearly at 100 likes. Only need about 3 more, so that's all pretty cool. So a couple more and we'll be there. Thank you, everybody. Add Malibu to flavoured water. Lovely. Oh, I bet that is. Skunk head. I'm liking. What's that? Black Art Linux Slim with all tools bootstrapped. now 145 gig after upgrade and update. Okay. I never got fully into it, to be honest with you. I never did in my IT career. But there you go. Philip from England on holiday in Orlando. I hope you're having a good time over there, and thank you for tuning in to us from the US of A. And hope the weather's good. Steve Colg, hi Andy and all. There's a picture of a what the hell is that? You just sent me a bed, a desk, a couple of phones. Have you got the kung flu or something? Are you all right? Did you hear Starmer invited 40 aides to a Christmas party when the rule of 6 was in place? No, I did not, Julie. It's all coming out now, isn't it? All coming out now. Tony Whitworth, is that when Windows came on floppy disk, Sandy? Tony, I kid you not, I've been there. Microsoft Office and Windows used to get a pile of floppy disks about that big, and my boss, the rotten sod, used to make me sit there and install them. And I discovered CDs, and it all went on one. I loved it. And I remember the old computer games sometimes where you had to change the disc between levels. Hello, Daphne Lynch. Good to see you. Good evening, Andy. Kept missing the chats. Here now. How are you? Yes, we're fine. And all the better to see you. Thank you for joining us. That's great. Windows 11 is rubbish. I tried it, and they basically turned Windows into the poor man's Mac OS. Yeah, well, I've resisted the temptation to put it on, and I think they've just, I think you've just about made my mind up for me with that comment. State opening of Parliament tomorrow. Listen very carefully to their plans. That's a good point, Anna. And I understand Her Majesty the Queen will be dodging that one as well due to mobility issues. Bless her. Fern Wright is in the chat, I think. Hello to you. I think I've caught up with almost everybody, and we're up to 114 likes. Cosmic Wartoad, Doom 3. I remember we used to play Doom on the old network computers at school. We used to enjoy that, but I think we played more Doom than we actually did work. That was a thing. Yeah, this is the daily chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby, everybody. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you're doing okay, all of you, and wonderful for you to club together as Andy's Army, as you always do. If you haven't done so already, like it, give it a thumbs up like you do. And if you're new here and haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing that also. And you can catch up with us on all social media. Now, for the personal bits, I've got a few personal bits, but before I do, we need to get into a bit of shut that door territory. So, yeah, there we go. Getting a bit dark. Shut that door. Them t-shirts will be coming. I tell you that right now. Upgraded to Doom Eternal. Yeah, they're talking about computer games there. Look, I want to talk about the big C, as in cancer, right? Quite controversial, but I'm going to go there. There are relatives of mine that have died from it, and I'm sure there are of yours. And there are people that we know everywhere that are suffering from it in some way or another at the moment. Now, depending on the cancer that you get, you don't actually see what's going on with your body until it's too late sometimes. And other people get symptoms for a long time and get scared of the possibility of what it could be and don't get it checked. And then again, it comes too late. I want to show you a picture here, if I get her name so I can tell you. There we go. Have a look at this girl. Beautiful girl, right? Georgia, her name is. All right, say hello to Georgia. Now listen to this. Student told heartburn that she was suffering was due to excessive drinking, but it was actually cancer. And you can see she's a young girl. And there's a picture of her in a hospital. Looks like she's having a chemo treatment. A university student, so she's only going to be very young, has had the devastating news that her heartburn was caused by cancer. not from boozing as she had initially thought. I think the doctors had told her this. She was even told she now has an incurable cancer. Georgia Ford developed a choking cough and sickness last April, but a GP put it down to the amount of alcohol she was drinking and prescribed her stomach lining tablets. I've never heard of them before. They certainly didn't have them in my day. But over the course of several months, the 20-year-old symptoms, which included weight loss and back pain, got far worse. By November, after countless trips to the doctors, Georgia was diagnosed with a kidney cancer called papillary renal cell carcinoma. I've heard of that. That's nasty. Tragically, she learned the cancer had also spread to her lungs, liver, lymph nodes, and bones, and it was incurable. Tragic, really tragic. I'm sorry, Georgia, and for your family as well. You're only 20 years old, for Christ's sake. Georgia started treatment immediately to shrink and stop the cancer from spreading. Today, she's still learning to accept her unbelievable diagnosis and is figuring how to live with the condition. The aspiring criminal lawyer is also urging anyone dissatisfied with a doctor's response to push for answers. I mean, that's no easy feat in this this day and age with the NHS and the state it's in. One of the mental difficulties she faces is that she'll always wonder if the cancer was caught sooner, whether her prognosis might be different. Georgia from Gloucestershire said originally the GP said the sickness was acid reflux. I've heard of so many get blamed for that from the amount that I was drinking because I was a student. There's a stereotype. I was pissed half the time when I was a student. They were like, do you drink a lot? And I was like, yeah, obviously I do. So they put me on these stomach lining protection tablets. You believe what the doctor says? And I thought, I do drink a lot, and alcohol's poison, isn't it? Maybe it's just bothering my stomach a lot. But then I came home. I'm not a big drinker, and it still carried on. So I was slightly miffed as to why it hadn't just stopped. The tablets didn't work, and then it got put down to various other things. There was a time that they thought it may be an anxiety thing, and it was more a psychological symptom than actually a physical problem. When they said anxiety could be a contributing factor, I was like, I don't consider myself to be an anxious person to begin with, and also, how can this all be psychological? They basically said that this was all in my head, and I wasn't ill at all. I said I fail to believe that I'm having this many severe symptoms and it's all in my head. I'm 5 months on from starting my treatment now, but I could be further along if I'd been diagnosed earlier. I don't know how much more ill I became in that time, and whether if it had been caught a little earlier, my story might be completely different. It's one of those questions that I'll never know, but always wonder. Georgia's cough got progressively worse to the point she couldn't climb stairs. She also lost 10 kilos in weight due to vomiting. Georgia said the cough was my main symptom at first, and I went to my GP about it a number of times and got told different things. Every time we try something new and it wouldn't work, I'd go back and we'd try something else. It was quite a choking cough. It would literally take my breath away. It wasn't chesty or dry. It was unlike anything I'd had before. I'd been at university going out and had been around loads of people, and then you come home and you're all run down. You do generally get a bit unwell. So I hadn't really thought anything of it when I came home, because I thought it's just my body reacting to burning the candle at both ends for such a long time. Then I went back to university last September and it just didn't go away. I'd coughed so much that I ended up being sick. That's when I started to lose weight because I wasn't holding on to food too well. My lower back pain got really bad again last October, which obviously in hindsight was my kidneys. It started to hurt quite a lot when I was lying flat. It wasn't very comfortable. I put my back pain down to bad posture or sleeping positions. I've always slumped and sat funny. I was always sat at my desk and didn't have a great setup or the nicest chair in a student house. It's usually some rubbish kitchen or cheap office chair. You just don't think there's things bigger than they are. A turning point was caused by Georgia coughing up blood, which led to her going to A&E, where they did an X-ray and cloudy patches were detected on her lungs. Yeah. At the time, she was told it wasn't cancer or anything life-threatening. She was put on a 3-month referral to a respiratory team, but during this time she became more unwell, so booked a private appointment. Georgia said there's very few times in my life where I've been speechless and I was sat there and words just completely evaded me. I didn't know what to say. I was just so shocked, just any hope I had of it maybe being something else. It was just the most sinking feeling to be told basically the worst case scenario, and I was just disappointed in everything. Honestly, it's not been the same since that. One moment had literally changed my entire life. They later said, look, it started in your kidney, it's in your lungs, liver, lymph nodes, and bones. That's when they also told me that it was incurable. It's gone too far. It's just like this overwhelming sadness that just fills you all the time. I've come a long way since, and I'm on my way to accepting and just learning to live with it and doing what I can with the constraints of my life now, I suppose, the limits. But at the time, I've gone from being a full university student within a few weeks to being in hospital as a cancer patient. It was just unbelievable. It's literally turned my life upside down. Now she's having immunotherapy, which involves taking medication daily and having intravenous drips every fortnight. That'll be the chemo. She's also taking portable oxygen tanks out with her and uses an oxygen pipe at night to help her breathe comfortably. The aim of her treatment is to shrink the cancer down as much as possible to the point where she can live normally. It's hoped she'll return to her studies in the future. Georgia set up a GoFundMe to fundraise for 2 charitable organisations that are supporting her through her treatment and have raised £1,300 so far. Georgia said, no matter what a doctor or any healthcare professional says, you know your body better than anyone else. If you think that something's wrong and if you don't feel that they're saying is right, like you deserve a scan or something more, you need to push and push. That's very wise words from such a young girl. You're better off to have pushed and to know for sure it's not cancer than leave it and find out that it was. But I was quietened by the doctors who were like, you don't need an x-ray, you don't need an x-ray at all. Tragic words, and look what happened. Georgia is so right, Bridget, you're spot on there, she is right. I have a relative who's sadly no longer with us. He died, getting on 7 years ago, didn't he, Mum? You know what I'm talking about. I think he was a little bit hesitant at first in investigating what was going on, and discovered it, and he put up a good fight. And there are others that get checked quick enough, and there are other examples of people that are scared and try and hide from the symptoms. I know people like that, and I know somebody very dear to me right now that's going through something similar. But there's one common theme in all of this, and that is the slightest thing out of place, a lump, a cough, blood in the wrong place, anything like that, please get checked. It could save your life, if not somebody else's. And if you believe that something they're telling you in the medical professional environment is wrong, get a second opinion, or even if you have to go private. I know I'm no fool. I know the NHS is in a sheer state at the moment because of what's gone on over the last couple of years, but please push. Somebody could be saved by it. Anyway, folks, this is the daily chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby. I just wanted to read that story because it touched me, and I hope Georgia gets some way to leading some kind of normal life for as long as she can, and all the best to her and her family. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button on the chat, the old thumbs up. Give it the thumbs up. Only the one thumbs up, by the way, because you don't want it cancelled. If you're on here and you've only just started, joining us, please consider hitting the subscribe button and seeing everything we do. That's wonderful. You can find us on all the social media outlets as well. Now I'm just going to spend a little moment just going through the chat, see who we got. My niece has acid reflux. She's had loads of tests. I told her it's coming from her stomach. I know someone who was on meds for over 10 years, never got checked. She ended up the cancer. Yeah, I know somebody that's got stage 4 esophageal cancer, one of the worst. And unfortunately, that thing can creep up on you without displaying any symptoms until it's too late. It's nasty stuff. Doctors have just identified a food that can cause grief and suffering years after it's been eaten. It's called a wedding cake. Tony Whitworth, thank you for that. It's made me smile. It's a bit like the old joke, isn't it? I watched my wedding video in reverse so I could see myself leaving the church as a free man. The conspiracy tinfoilers told you they wanted to dismantle the NHS. That's Kirky Bailey. Farmers spray the crops with human waste. Phew, it stinks. We used to use rabbit crap for ours. That used to be really good. Daphne Lynch, my daughter has a very bad back and has had an operation for that, but it's still bad. So she was sent to the pain clinic. They decided to send her to another thing for psychosomatic treatment. Get it checked. You can never be too careful. I mean, that goddamn disease eats you alive, doesn't it? John Harris, let's have a happy story. I've got a couple for you, don't you worry. Search YouTube for broccoli sprouts. You grow as many as you like and just eat. Okay. I don't think we ever lose the rock trip within. No, we do not. My mum was left too long. Yeah, it's there's so many varieties of it, isn't there? It needs dealing with. You have all this fuss over what we've had over the last few years, and people like Georgia suffer. Doctors do this regularly, and I went private, or would have never gotten health access. Yeah, you're all saying the same, really. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, and I've seen just about all the metal bands from Pantera to Slipknot and Pink Floyd. And only realise they're all gold, they're soul, fame. Yeah, brilliant. Use broccoli sprouts. I'll look into that. That could be relevant. I bet they give you wind too. Neats with prey hands. Yeah, definitely. I'll go with that. Personal experience tells me blood pressure meds do consider. Yeah, Nick B, I'm on blood pressure medication as well, and I've been told that long term they can stuff your kidneys. I suppose I got all that to come when I turn into an old person, haven't I? Few better late than never. Hello, Kevin Macy. Good to see you. Hope you're okay. Yes, now for some good news. I've got a few bits of good news, actually. You will see on the channel that I did a couple of videos about credit card debt and council tax, and how to deal with all this, where it becomes an issue. And I did a live stream particularly on the actual credit card side of things, as in if it goes to a debt collector, what you do, the 3-letter process and everything else. Well, I've been dealing with a couple of cases at the moment, and I received this today from Cabot Financial. That's one of the main debt buyers. They're called debt collectors, but they're debt buyers. And this is dated a couple of days ago. Listen to this. Mr. Andy the Gabby Cabby, your account is no longer with our solicitors. It's been returned to Cabot Financial. You don't need to do anything, and no further action will be taken to collect your outstanding balance. That's a good one, isn't it? Now, the reason is with this whole business, they're not going to take any further action to recover my balance, is because I asked them 3 times to prove that they're legally entitled to collect that balance. They failed to produce that evidence 3 times. I then reported them to the Financial Services Ombudsman, who investigated it, and they upheld their side of things and not mine, because the Financial Services Ombudsman isn't worth the paper it's written on. They kept hassling me, and I told them to get knotted, so they decided to take me to court with this one. So again, I went through the civil procedure rules, where you go on the fact that you're entitled to sight of everything that you're entitled to in order to form an adequate defence. So again, you ask them 3 times, I want to see the information that tells me that you can legally pursue me for this debt. 3 times they fail, because the main thing is you need something called a deed of assignment, which is the document that shows that the account was legally, and the right to collect it as well, legally transferred from the original bank or credit card over to the debt collector. And they won't show you that because it doesn't exist. They don't have it actually on paper to prove that they can, so they never will. So when the 3 times fails, what you do, you write into the court and you say, can you please put a note on the file which will point out that, I've asked them and asked them and asked them, and they've not done it. And then it may get transferred to the actual local county court where you live, and you just write to the judge and say, look, I want to save your time here, not done this, bosh. Please order them to produce it, and if they haven't, kick the claim out. Now, it can get that far. It really can get that far, and they can end up kicking the claim out. But every now and again, these debt buyers will actually realise that they're biting off their nose to spite their face, which will happen in this case. Now, Cabot Financial actually have another account of mine, and we're going through the same process again. Now, what they've done here as well, they've set precedent. They've actually set precedent, and I'm willing to allow anybody to quote this in their own issues, whereby they will just get rid of it if they can't prove it. It becomes more hassle in both, time and money. So there you go, a success story. Everything I told you is true. It works. You just have to persist. Don't give up. Be strong, and you will get there. And there's another story I want to tell you about as well. I won't say his name because he wouldn't want me to, but I'll tell you the story. I have a friend I've known for 20 years. Right? When I first met him, it absolutely fine. And all of a sudden, he starts experiencing loss like we all do. His dad died, his mum died. He had a sad relationship with his brother, another brother died. Loss, and it just hit him. Boom, 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 boom. And he suffered from severe mental depression up there, and all other things. And then when you suddenly can't go out anymore because you're so depressed, and you get anxious feelings about things you shouldn't be anxious about, it affects your everyday life. And I hope I'm relating to some people here when I describe this. And then when you're sat in your arse in your flat all day because you can't face the real world, physical disabilities start to creep in because you've walked away from your own life. I was there once. I turned around before I let it consume me completely. I could tell you that story. I really could. So I do appreciate some of this. Now, my friend isn't capable of doing a day's work. He's just mentally not there. he couldn't do an 8-hour shift like the rest of us. Too much would go wrong, both physically and mentally. So therefore, he's one of these genuine cases that does need assistance from the state. In view of his disabilities, various benefits, he is somebody that is actually entitled to it. Now, he was getting universal credit, and the problem is, because he's a single person living on his own in a flat, he gets fuck all, absolutely nothing. And more often than not, I would get a phone call or a text message off of him at least once a month telling me my lights have gone out, or I'm out of fags, my electricity's popped, I don't have the money. I'm not going to sit here if I can and not help him, so I go and help him. And every now and again he'd buy me a bottle of whiskey as a thank you. Plank, that's 25 quid or whatever you've taken out your own shopping budget, but he always insisted. So really, he needs the other benefits and everything he's entitled to. Now, there's a thing called personal independence payment, PIP, which I think did it replace DLA or something like that? But he was on that before, and he had it cruelly taken away from him. And a couple of years ago, he tried to appeal the decision, but wasn't very prepared to face the situation, and his appeal was rejected. And he spent months and months and months and months living in poverty. You've got the poverty line. He was here. It was awful, and it's not done his mental health any good. And he put himself in touch with a organisation which said, okay, if you can't do this yourself, we will help you to do it. So they helped him fill the paperwork in, helped him gather all the evidence he needed. I wrote a personal statement from him. See you later, Christine. Good to see you. I wrote a personal statement for him saying how long I'd known him and what I'd experienced of his mental behaviour and what my opinion was. His good neighbour did as well, and we all clubbed together and helped him. And I got this tirade of text messages earlier, and it said, will you bloody phone me? Will you goddamn, all these things. And he went to check his bank account that an amount of money had gone in, only a score. He wanted 20 quid off someone so he could top his lecky up. And he was pleasantly surprised to find a 4-figure sum in his bank account. He's never had that amount of money in his bank account in one go in his whole life. And that is literally a backdated payment for all of the months that he's been going through the sheer hell of waiting for things to sort themselves out. Obviously, the paperwork side of things hasn't reached him yet, but he's probably the most excited I've heard him in, well, probably a decade. It's absolutely brilliant. Hello, Training Buster. Go do some bloody work. But good evening. Good to see you. Yeah, most excited I've seen him. A great big weight lifted off his shoulders, and he can now, go out and do his, do what he needs to do, pay his bills and everything, and it'll put him on an even keel. So absolutely wonderful for him. I was so made up. I'm going to go see him tomorrow, run him into town so he can do odds and ends. It's kind of a funny relationship. I've known him 20 years. I don't have a brother, but he's like my brother, if you know what I mean. It's that kind of thing. I'd help him out any time I can, and he would do the same for me in a heartbeat. So there you go. 2 nice stories to end the day. I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes just having a look through here and make sure I see what everybody's saying. Christine's off, yep. Bridget, I tried taking my money too a few years ago. I took DLA to court and won with back pay. I hope you got compensation too. Thank you, Fuzzy Doxy. Basically, I'll help anybody if they need help. That's just me all over, really. He should qualify for ESA if he has mental health issues. Firstborn Unicorn says, I remember that being mentioned, and I don't know whether that's being sorted out or what, but Thank you for that. I appreciate it. M. Perry, I am okay, thank you. That says Zulu. Uh, what do we got here? No, I can't see that one. Yes, bereavement is always tough. We deal with it in different ways, don't we? Uh, well done, Andy. I wish I'd known this about 30 years back. Never too late, Daphne. Never too late. Thank you. Yes, it was nice. Hope yours was too. Late again, Bumbles. That's Lulu. Using their own legislation against them, is brilliant. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, the system's in place to try and, best us. At the end of the day, we can turn the tables on them if we know how. That's great. Right, we're at the hour, folks. As you know, I usually like to try and keep it to the hour. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me this evening. We got a terrific amount of likes again, so I'm pretty pleased with that. We obviously spent the first part talking about beer of Starmer and how long he comes into it. Yeah, says my mum, trying to take some credit uh, for my good behaviour. And then we spoke about what's happening in Shanghai and that sad story about young Georgia. I noticed she's got a GoFundMe page, and I hope she does well with it and helps raise some money for the organisations that are looking after her. One more shut that door. And then I told you my couple of bits of good news as well, and it's all go. My car that we're sitting in at the moment goes in the garage on Thursday, so I hope we'll get this going and get it up and running. And meanwhile, I've got a good team behind me taking care of the airport runs that I can't get to myself. So quite humbling, really. Anyway, that's it. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't. Please subscribe to the channel. Have a look around at other things. And I'll see you tomorrow with more stuff, another live stream and some more content. Until then, toodaloo.